find it. So.
Okay, let's go.
So. We went back to when Mick was working in Hollywood, 1933. Exactly. A film crew goes to a tropical island at an exotic location shoot and discovers a colossal ape who takes a shine to their female star. He is then captured and brought back to New York City for a public exhibition. But yeah, King Kong, 1933. Yeah, I had a question, like, so my first thought when I was watching this, was, which I never thought of before when I was watching this, is like, okay, this director is taking all these people to some tropical island, but he doesn't have a screenplay or a plan.
Doesn't make any sense.
Is it a porno?
No, that doesn't make
I think it's a porno because he picked up a lady on the way.
Well, yeah. She thought it was a porno, too. You're not the only one.
But she doesn't do gorillas, or...
He winds up with a not gorgeous looking woman, but
she was pretty,
serviceable, right? But she had a good scream.
No, I think she was pretty attractive, actually, for the time, especially.
Yeah, she had a great scream.
But the scream, oh yeah, the scream. Actually, there were a lot of screams that were good in this. Like in a lot of the action scenes, you hear people screaming on the street and stuff.
Yeah.
But her scream, I think, rivaled William Butler for sure. Like,
it did, yes.
So I don't know who would win that contest, Fay Wray or William Butler.
William Butler. That's a good question. Yeah,
It's hard to talk about this one because I've seen it a lot.
It is hard to talk about this one because it is such a part of the zeitgeist in my head.
Well, a lot of people have talked about it too, and I've seen it a lot. So
there's very little that there's. I mean,
it would have been better if we compared this to like 1976 or.
I there's a couple things that I thought about along, and I've always thought about is that I never liked the monkey's face very much. It's just the teeth are just not right.
Well, it's a very flat mouth. It's like.
Well, it looks like it looks very cartoonish, right?
Right. Plasticine, right?
Yeah, it could have been served. It could have been served better, with a better looking mouth, but the overall movement of the monster is so good.
Well, I like the fact that it's pretty much always moving.
Right, literally always moving. Right, and this was not Ray Harryhausen. This was before his time.
Well, I saw that the directors were even uncredited, like on the movie itself.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah. So we saw this on HBO Max, but I noticed that it said uncredited, and they had the names of the directors. So I guess originally they weren't on the movie. I was confused by that.
Yeah.
But Jack Buchanan.
It was 33, and 33 the producers were.
Yeah.
Had all of the power.
Well, on IMDb, they have Jack Buchanan listed as the director, writer, and the star. So.
Really? He was the director, right?
So I was confused by everything about who was in this, and except for Fay Wray. I mean, that's a pretty.
Well, that's the only one that. Yeah. But I had to think. I saw it this time, and I kind of thought to myself, you in 1933, this had to be pretty big deal.
Oh, I can imagine seeing this in 1933. It'd probably be pretty scary.
It would have been just awesome, is what it would have been.
And it was a stop motion. I mean, so nowadays it looks very antiquated.
Here's the thing: when it came out, it would have always been in a theater.
When did Lost World come out? I was trying to think. That was earlier, wasn't it?
I think it was earlier.
Well, I have Lost World behind me. It's a silent movie, so that would probably be our answer right there. Yeah, it was before 1933.
Yeah. But, to have seen it in a theater, in a sound theater, with sound and all the rest of that it would have been really, really effective.
And it actually shows how important sound is, because for me, the sounds of the screams was a lot more powerful than the visual I was looking at, if that makes any sense.
Right, yeah, because the visuals were...
and it was that 33 acting, the way, over dramatic, melodramatic.
There is something that I did think about this time. I thought about how big that set, the jungle set,
Yeah.
you know, with the gate in front of it and stuff. And you know what I thought about was that such a huge part of that film is there. You know, everybody talks about New York City, and I think that New York City at the most is the last 7 minutes of the
Yeah.
7 minutes of the running time of the film, and the entire middle of the film is spent in front of that gate and the people running up the scaffoldings and stuff. I mean that had to be just a huge set. You know, just that gate set with the thing that holds her up like this, and that had to be pretty good size. I wonder if there's any information out there about that set and what it took to put it together.
Well, I did see something about. Well, I saw something about the set, but it was unrelated about how they made it. But it was they actually locked people in for a long period of time, like 24 hours at a time, because I guess they didn't want the flowers in the background to move because they were doing the stop motion stuff. So they didn't want the stuff to move too much, which is the wind from outside, I guess.
But there weren't a lot of those shots. There weren't a lot of shots that weren't back screened for that kind of stuff. But
yeah, which I was confused.
You could tell the difference.
Yeah, you totally could. Yeah,
you could tell the difference by looking at her in his hand, and whenever she was real, they were doing that was in real time, and that was a monster. But when it was because, and then sometimes it was she was a dummy also, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Which it was confusing when they switched back and forth. Like, some of the changes didn't make sense. Like, why didn't they use the live action for that shot? You know, it's like...
Right. Yeah.
Or it's like they shot it both ways and they kind of edited together, I guess, to...
Yeah, I think... I was going to say, you know, that's confusion of war.
But it didn't make sense. Some of the shots where I was like, that would have been really nice if she was real there, but I could see that this clay thing was flopping around.
What's funny is there was one really obvious set with the obvious monster hand in the apartment.
Yeah.
and how even for the other apartment they did the same apartment, you know, they just changed the sofa. And that was it, and then the hand comes back in again. I was like, oh, that's great. Comes in exactly the same way. Right across the screen.
Well, see, for me, it's like King Kong, everybody talks about New York, but they always talk about, the Empire State Building, the Monster Clan. I'm like, no, it was...
a small part of it.
This is more about... It's not really even about Kong. It's about it's a love story, really, is what it is.
It really is.
I mean, it's like...
Yeah, it really is. It's and people say, well, it's a love story between her and the...
Right, Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, it's Beauty and the Beast, yeah. Well,
but it also reminds me a little bit of Godzilla, because he meant well. He was just in love with the woman, and he meant well. Like, Godzilla sometimes means well. Like, he's trying to help the humans sometimes, but the humans don't realize it.
Oh, yeah.
And if people would just backed off, Kong could have had his woman. Actually, it was really disturbing how he was peeling her like a banana.
If you look at the whole history of Godzillas, though, the whole history of them, I mean, sometimes Godzilla is on the people's side, and sometimes he isn't, you know?
But some of the things are similar, like he was snuffing out that guy like a cigarette, you know, like Godzilla did that. I don't know what movie, but no, it was one thing that's crazy about this, and I didn't realize before. I don't know why it did occur to me last 10 times I watched this movie was, you know how he was holding her and he was peeling her like a banana, like he was peeling her clothes off?
Yes.
I've never really noticed that scene before.
I didn't, you know what? That's really funny. Is I noticed that scene too, where he's like.
Was that in there before? Because this might be a.
Well, the funny thing is there's also he kind of goes down and he kind of like flicks her boobies.
Yeah, and then he smells his finger.
Plays with her boobies a little bit, and he makes like suggestive noises. And it's really funny, just because. I mean, I kind of thought that, and my wife goes, "Well, that was suggestive."
Well, like, I don't remember that being in the.
You noticed that?
It might have been like a Criterion version or something that we were watching. It's like there might be other versions out there, but yeah, it just kind of was like, I don't remember that scene. And then he smelled his fingers.
It seemed to. Yes, and he sniffs his fingers. That was the scene that my wife went. That's a little something. I don't know what.
And he was
I don't know what it
interrupted,
is.
rudely interrupted.
It's a little something.
And then the director was just killing me. He's like, "We have no reason. Let's shoot." What movie was he making? Where were the cameras?
I like that. You know, as they're getting on the beach, he goes, "No, the camera goes first." Because I might want to film something. And you're like,
He only shot
what?
one thing that I remember. It was the natives where
yeah,
they were.
exactly. It was, yeah, and see how that turned out.
Imagine if he would have shot the whole thing.
Really?
Anyway. But no, and then
Yeah,
he was
but-
still wanting to take King Kong back to make money. He was like, okay, well, are you a filmmaker or what are you? It's like a con man or something.
I like the. You know, it could have been the audience is looking at the ape up here like this. I just kept thinking to myself, there had to be some people in the audience going, nope, no, I'm good. Takes off, right? You know,
Right, yeah.
because you knew what you know where this is going, right?
Of course.
Because you've seen Young Frankenstein and you've read the script.
Well,
You know, it's really funny. I think out of all the films that we've done, like even Frankenstein and all the rest of those, we've had like a lot more to talk about.
I know this
than-
one's hard to talk about.
than this one. I find this one very hard to talk about. I mean, it's
You didn't even talk about the dummies. There were a lot of dummies being thrown off things here.
yes, but this one it's as common as dust. You know,
Yeah. Well, it's been redone how many times? Like,
redone and little pieces have been used everywhere in the world. I mean, a lot of the Mighty Joe Young, they used a lot of the same footage, right?
yeah. Well, King Kong itself has been remade like 4 or 5 times, I
Well,
think.
yeah, but no, I mean, but they used the actual footage from
Oh,
the
okay.
first one. Yeah,
Okay. It's been so long since I've seen that Mighty Joe Young.
yeah, same face.
But yeah, I know it's just hard to talk about because it's kind of like you said, it's like part of the. It's just part of history now.
You know what?
It's
It's like doing a book report on your underwear.
Right. Well, I could do
Not
that.
in your underwear,
Oh, okay.
on your underwear.
So you sit on your underwear?
So I'm out of it.
So I don't have anything to say other than
Yeah.
I found the dummies really funny to watch because I like the log scene where all the guys are just kind of flopping off of it.
Yeah.
Why did
Oh,
they
yeah,
use
yeah, when
clay?
they're out in the-
Why did
it's
they
being
use clay
twisted like
dummies
this.
instead of floppy
right.
dummies?
Well, they should have.
Like they could have used clay dummies; it would look more rigid.
You know
Anyway.
what? You can just take all of your suggestions back in time with you.
You know, I wish I could.
Yeah.
I'd be on the credits here because be with me and Jack would be the only two listed. I'd be like the guy that did the smog or the fog guy, the fog master.
Go back and find Hitler's when he's young and give him a Dream Warrior Review T-shirt.
You see that I am high though. I'm gonna go back in time, work on a famous movie, and be the guy that does the fog.
The guy that does the fog. There was a guy. So, ever told you about Pat? Oh, Pat. Come on, Pat Patterson. Pat Patterson was the guy that did the smoke for the Scarecrow in Wizard of Oz.
Ah, yes, you told me about him. Yeah,
Yeah, he's the guy that when this guy was a one card, probably one of the oldest, and he taught me a lot. We used to have him come out and do little explosions and squib hits and stuff like that, and he'd drive up in his Mercedes, and literally anybody else in town would have to have like a armorer's box, a red box, which is 1/4-inch steel and then lined with 2 inches of mahogany on the inside just to put bullet hits in it, right? And literally this guy drives up in a really funky old Mercedes Benz, like a 1971 that's just barely running, diesel one, and he would drive up and he'd open his trunk, and his trunk is just full of little old, I mean, those old tin, toolboxes. They're just single, and every one of them is just marked like ST100 caps, and
were they labeled or were they just full of stuff?
Well, labeled in the worst well, I know what that label used to be, because that torn off edge like that, that's just the dynamite, right? When, I mean, literally, it was just like a bomb going down the road, and
did he smoke?
I don't think that he smoked.
Oh,
I
okay.
think he had given up smoking, but I mean, and he had been around for ages, and he knew every fire officer, and they would just like look the other way because it was Pat. He was a little piece of history. He made the smoke come out of the helmet of the Tin Man. So, when he died, and they had his wife goes to clean out goes out with somebody to like start clearing out the garage, and and there was just a box of dynamite that had gone bad. It's like was literally leaking out, which is nitroglycerin.
Right.
It's nitroglycerin is you have to turn dynamite over every 6 months, so that the liquid
now I know.
Because the liquid actually drops out of it, and the liquid is nitroglycerin.
I'm throwing out so much dynamite. Why didn't anybody tell me this?
Well, this is back in. But I mean, our explosives had come a long way since even as far as dynamite. Literally his cul-de-sac was evacuated for a week or so that they could clear out his garage.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, really. That's just okay. Oh, there you go. You know what? And here's the thing. That they are deeper truths in life when somebody tells you that, and you knew Pat Patterson. You go, yeah. It's sort of like Trump not letting go of his office,
right?
Not letting go of the office of the president. Really? You didn't see that coming? Really? Because everybody else did, pretty much.
So, what is your rating for King Kong?
You know what?
For me, it's a high up one.
It's very hard. It is, of course, like it's got to be a 4.
I think for me it's like a 4.5 because
it's just been there forever. It's very hard to like judge it.
Well, it's one that I watch frequently. I mean, not every day or every week, but I watch it like every few years or so. I watch King Kong.
It has a preponderance of history that is much higher than even Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Closer to Dracula. I think Dracula has a bigger has a larger.
Yeah. See, you brought up Dracula.
A larger historical footprint.
You said something about Dracula and Frankenstein, and my score just went down to like 4. It's like, oh yeah, thank you for reminding me.
That's right.
I really love this out of Dracula and Frankenstein.
See what I did to you there?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You brought me down.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're done.
I think we're out.